I thought it'd be a good idea to wrap up this year with a big MMORPG tier list.
Welcome guys. Today I am going to show you the top 5 new MMO games of 2022.
Are for games that grabbed us from the get-go all the way through their 133rd hour. Here's our list of the top 10 MMO.
I hate you so much!
Oh hi, Sawman here, and I'm back with another controversial opinion. And the reason I'm making this video is because recently I've been trying to find a new MMO to play. So obviously you go onto Google, you go onto the YouTube, you type in what are the top MMOs, and you get about 1,000 videos telling you what the top MMOs are, and guess what? I fucking hate them. I hate them so much. I can't explain it. Well, I can, which is why I'm making this video. Some might say this is quite controversial. Why would you ever do this? And I'll be honest, I have nothing left to lose. The game I main is dying. The game I like has no population. Asmongold didn't like my last video.
No, I said I didn't like this. I want the half-naked girls with their titties out.
And worse still, content creators are attacking me over my sub count.
But Sawman also has 17,000 subs, so you know, what does he know?
This video isn't exclusively aimed at any particular content creator, it's just a generalization of the content I see and I hate. And you're probably thinking, what kind of pleb doesn't like lists and MMOs? And I'll tell you who, me, this pleb. I don't like them, I'm sorry. But the thing that all these videos have in common is that they're just wrong. And if you don't believe me, think about this. How the fuck is ESO a top 5 MMO when it's been leaking players for years now? I mean, if you don't believe me, name one big content creator for ESO. Bet you can't. But if I was to ask you to name one for WoW or RuneScape, you could easily name 3 or 4 different ones. So in an ironic twist to why I hate top 5 MMO videos, I'm going to give you my top 5 reasons for hating MMO top 5 videos. That's quite the mouthful. Let's begin.
So in this video, we'll be ranking 41 different MMOs from S tier to F tier.
As I mentioned earlier, this isn't an attack on any content creator. However, I do find it fucking mind-boggling that anyone has time to play 41 different MMOs to a satisfactory level. Like, how many hours do you need to have a fair assessment of an MMO? Me personally, I think over 100 hours is pretty much a given, but even then you might not even be endgame after 100 hours, so can you truly give a good perspective on a MMO, which, let's be honest, are designed to be games which last a very, very long time. Okay, so let's just look at this mathematically. There are 8,760 hours in a year. On average, if you was to sleep 8 hours a day for a whole year, that would be 2,920 hours. Which puts us down to 5,840 hours. So let's say you spend an average of 1 hour a day exercising, maybe 1 hour a day eating, and assuming you're not some social recluse, let's say 1 hour a day socializing. Let's also whack in, I don't know, watching TikTok, taking showers, masturbating, maybe watching TV. We all like to watch TV, and maybe watching YouTube. Let's see what that gives us. So in total, and I couldn't be bothered to work out the maths behind masturbating, this gives us 2,555 hours of extracurricular activities, which you'd more than likely spend doing throughout the year. So let's minus this from the total time spent awake and work out how much time we have left to play MMOs. 3,285 hours a year to review MMOs. This obviously doesn't include time procrastinating, time spent editing the video, and whatever else or other hobbies you might have.
God, you can tell he's a virgin.
And that's just solely playing MMOs. If you're just assessing the new player experience, then yes, this is by far enough time to do that. This is plenty of time to try every MMO under the sun and play it for a whole 10 hours. I have over 400 hours in Elden Ring, New World, and almost over 200 hours in Mortal Online 2.
Whoa.
And yet, some people would consider me a dirty casual. Like, I play other MMOs, I'm not like it.
He has 300 hours, so he's a fucking casual. Oh, great.
This is a very subjective argument. I know a lot of you will agree with me, and I also know a lot of you will disagree with me. It's probably a 50-50 split, and that's absolutely fine. But for my own personal reasons, I find it hard to trust these top 5 MMOs because I never know how much time they've actually put into the game and whether they've done it to a good competent level. Case in point, if you want to play PvP in New World, realistically you have to be level 60 and you need to have your gear score up to at least 600 to be competitive. And that's not something that's achievable in the first 10 hours. And I get people might not play all these games in 1 year, it might be spread over several years, but in that time the game can also be updated and maybe it would improve, or maybe your like and dislikes about the game might get addressed. Which brings me to my next argument. Now this one is a bit of a strange one because what is considered compelling gameplay? If someone's reviewing a game but all they do is go around and pick flowers, is that compelling enough? Maybe it is. Maybe that's what you like to do in your MMOs. So therefore, someone doing a review of top 5 MMOs to pick flowers in, it's just going to reside with you a lot better than someone who's doing PvP. Which in itself is always subjective because is the person playing the game, are they a hardcore PvP fan or are they more into the PvE side of an MMO? When I watch content creators, I try and find ones which will probably have a similar opinion to myself or that they do similar gameplay. So when I do watch the reviews that they do, I can put myself in their position and go, aha, okay, they like the same things, they like this game, therefore I should like it, right? However, even with this logic, I still haven't played Black Desert Online or Final Fantasy XIV, and let's be honest, Final Fantasy XIV is one of the top rated MMOs, and yet here I am, 0 hours played, and I can't even give you a good reason as to why. I mean, I can give you a reason, but you'll attack me for it, which is, I just don't see myself in that fancy world. I can't really relate to cat girls and big-titted anime bitches. It just doesn't appeal to me. And I know I'm a fucking talking dog and I should like this stuff, but I don't. And I played Final Fantasy 7, 8 and 9, but I just can't. I can't, alright? I'm sorry. I will try eventually. Please don't attack me. Please. Sorry, I digress. My point is, when it comes to the MMO genre, it's so vast and wide in players' skill level that to assess something on its gameplay is a very subjective thing to do, and therefore you really need to understand the person reviewing the content to have an understanding as to whether what they're saying actually is valid. Like a lot of other YouTubers out there, I am guilty of looking at Steam charts, Twitch numbers, and any other website with a pretty graph on it. But just because a game has a high player base, doesn't mean it's a good game. It's at this point a lot of you will be like, yes it does, you fucking moron. Steam charts are very biased and deceptive. For starters, not every game out there is on Steam. Guild Wars 2 has its own launcher and has only just come over to Steam to make it obviously more convenient for people to access. All console MMOs don't go through Steam, so they're not recorded on any Steam chart, clearly. Genshin Impact and Albion Online are both mobile games, but that's once again not calculated through Steam or any graph I'm aware of. Even looking at viewers on Twitch is riddled with issues such as embeds. If you're not sure what an embed is, go check out Devon Nash's video, but essentially they're not real viewers, they're not actually there on Twitch watching the person. Which makes me instantly wary as soon as I see that old Steam chart pop up, because if that's all they're basing their information on, then it's not going to be accurate. Once again, I've used these in the past myself, but there's always a caveat to go against it, which is they are biased. They should only ever be used as a footnote or just a, hey, this kind of corroborates what I'm trying to say. By all means though, I don't think a lot of content creators base all their content off Steam charts, so we're good on that one, but there is the odd few. When I talk about cultural differences, I'm basically talking about East versus West. If you were to look at solely Eastern games and what the top 10 would be, it'd be a different picture to what the top Western games would be. So combining these two together, it just sort of mismatches. Lost Ark was released to the West this year. Before then, who actually played it? Who would have considered it a top MMO? There are a lot of reviewers out there who will not even touch an Eastern MMO because of the pay to win associated with it or the Korean grind. And I'll be honest, I had to actually Google the top 10 Eastern MMOs, and all I could find was an old Reddit post, and even then, you know, some of the games I just haven't even heard of. Shout out to anyone who played Phantasy Star Online too. Maybe this is more of an issue in regards to accessibility as opposed to culture. I mean, let's be honest, a lot of English games have multiple languages that they're supported in, whereas some of the Asian games, they just go, nah, we're okay. I don't necessarily think cultural biasness is something you can easily avoid. I mean, if you live in North Korea, what the fuck are you going to know about Western games? Let's be honest here. There are creators out there, though, who do have a nice variety. Shout out to Lazy Peon. I think he's one of the most diverse people, given the fact that he has moved from country to country, which has clearly had an influence on the sort of games that he plays. But just personally, from my own observation, it just seems like there's a lot of biasness towards Western games.
I think there are a couple of MMORPGs that are worth your time and worth your money, and even though they may not be the greatest of games, they are, and this is very important, worth the time and the money they take. And they are Old School RuneScape, RuneScape 3, Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2, Final Fantasy XIV. I think those games are worth your money. And the reason they have become the big five is because even if you don't necessarily like the game itself, you can still look at it and go, I get why you play this. I see it. It may not appeal to you, but I can see the appeal to other people.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy this Sith, not join them!
I have nothing personal against Josh. I value his opinion. But when it comes to the Elder Scrolls Online and his review of it, he's just wrong. It's not a top 5 MMO. There are so many better MMOs out there which are better value for money and will give you more gameplay than what this does. And I think the massive reason that people consider the Elder Scrolls Online a top 5 MMO or even top 10 MMO is simply because of marketing. If there's one thing the Elder Scrolls does really well, is advertising their game and making sure everyone has a copy of it. They push so much into advertising it, getting new players in, but then they never retain them. It is just literally a meat grind for new players, which is why they say they have got 21 million players when realistically there's only 200,000 active across console and PC. Which goes back to one of my first arguments, which is you can't even verify the data because it's not reliable. So that 200,000, I mean, it's apparently 20,000 on Steam. So you're telling me there's 180,000 active players across console? I very much fucking doubt that. They also paid a lot of influencers to push their game. I mean, if you look at the High Isle chapter release, they had a plethora of big names playing the Elder Scrolls Online. But did they carry on playing it after the initial release? No. So is the Elder Scrolls Online a top 5 MMO? No, I just think it's one of the top 5 most advertised MMOs. And you're allowed to disagree with me, but consider this. Is it better than Genshin Impact, New World, Black Desert Online, Lost Ark, Albion, Path of Exile, EVE Online? If you did get to this part of the video, then thank you for persevering and listening to the end. I know that some of my opinions people won't agree with, and that's perfectly fine. That's why we have the internet in the first place. It's a room filled with people who just shout at each other, give their thoughts, even if they're wrong. It's great. I love it. But by all means, if you want to comment below and let me know why I'm wrong or why I'm right or something that I might have missed, go ahead, I don't mind. Just keep it respectful. And as I said at the start, I'm not attacking any content creators as much as I might disagree with people. It's not an attack if you disagree with someone. It's just disagreeing. But on that bombshell, I have to go. And if you want to see more content like this, by all means, get this video to 69 likes and I'll consider making a follow-up or maybe attack some other content creators. Who knows? And if you want to see more of my content, please subscribe. It would mean the world to me because I have a very fragile ego and without a high sub count, I'm not a real human being. But anyway, I digress and yeah, I'll catch you on the next one hopefully. Bye bye.